Hi, my name is Moshe Rosen, DevOps lead for ionir. In this demo, I will be using Data Teleport to scale a MongoDB database across multiple Kubernetes clusters in less than 40 seconds. This is the Cloud Manager screen. I have 3 Kubernetes clusters with the ionir platform running in AWS, Paris, London, and Island Teleport. The Paris cluster has an instance of MongoDB that will be scaling by creating a replica set across multiple clusters. On the Paris cluster, I have a 40 GB persistent volume for the database. If I look at the database, it has about 110 million records. This will be our primary when we scale the database. This is the status of the MongoDB cluster, and as you can see, we only have the primary. Now on the London cluster, let's add a replica for our database. This is a standard MongoDB YAML with an ionir storage class. I will now apply the YAMLs. I'll append the string to join the replica and wait until the pod will come up. The MongoDB service is now up and running on London. Let's join it to the cluster. I'm going to run a script that checks the status of the replica. Checking on the primary, the replica is doing its initial sync. Now I'm going to the Island Teleport cluster. There is nothing here. I'm going to use Data Teleport to create a replica. In the Paris cluster, I select the volume of the primary MongoDB instance and using Teleport to create a copy to the Island Teleport cluster. The volume is in the accessible state, which means it is fully usable. Background data copy has started for the teleported volume and is now on 2%. I'm going to bring up a MongoDB instance on the Island Teleport cluster using the volume I copied using Data Teleport. Let's prepare the command on the primary to add the replica to the replica set. Now let's apply the YAML for MongoDB. Waiting for the pod to come up. Our replica is now running, and now let's add it to the MongoDB cluster. Now let's start our script that checks the status of the replica. Let's check the status of the MongoDB cluster. The connection error that we see is due to DNS resolution error. It takes time for the DNS record to propagate for a new service. We are now around 27 seconds, and the replica is ready. The replica on the London cluster is still not ready. The replica is still in the startup state and cannot be used. Now let's execute a query on the database. First, on the primary, in the Paris Kubernetes cluster, and on the replica created by Data Teleport in the Island Teleport cluster. Query returns 1000 random entries from the database, and I am storing the results into two separate files, one for each cluster. This is the same query we used in our previous demo. Now let's perform diff on the files and validate they have the same output. While the replica on the London Kubernetes cluster is still syncing, I will fast forward until the sync will finally complete. The sync has finally completed in 489 seconds, compared to 33 seconds with Data Teleport. That concludes our demo of using Data Teleport to scale a MongoDB database across multiple Kubernetes clusters. Thank you for your time.